Most students think they need high IQ or be gifted to become an academic weapon. You don't. And to prove it to you, I spent 2 years implementing my plan. A person that was once deemed a class clown, but now became IB45. Why? Because I understand the game in a way that you probably don't. I'm going to show you exactly how I did it and show you what every student needs to know about studying. And I'll break this down in detail so that every one of you can fully understand and implement my advice. We have 2 main categories, mentality and habits, and also studying. Let's get started. Within mentality and habits, there are 9 things you need to do. Firstly, you need to get on a dopamine detox in order to reset your mind. Our minds have been so distracted due to the easy, free dopamine we get from our devices that we struggle to remain present and focused, not just during studying, but in our day-to-day life as well. We're trying to study, but your thought pops in our mind to check out YouTube and research, and before you know it, you just spent 5 hours on YouTube going off task. Dopamine detox kills your tendencies to check your phone and social media and allows you to completely focus on your work. All you need to do is restrict yourself to 1 hour of phone use per day. You need to have the screen time displayed at the top of your screen. Then, no social media, no adult films, no TV shows and movies, and 30 minutes of meditation a day. You can split this up into 3 blocks, so 10 minutes each minimum. Do this for 7 days straight. The moment you do this, you'll see a dramatic increase in focus and confidence. While you're walking on the street, you no longer get the tendency to check your phone, and you get much more confident as a person. And to maintain your focus, get on monk mode, which is the dopamine detox before a longer period of time, where you do the exact same things, but you can watch YouTube for learning purposes, but you want to limit it down as short as possible. So maybe like 30 minutes to an hour. Secondly, you must become motivated. You need to trick yourself to love and enjoy studying and winning on testing exams in order to study effectively and for a longer period of time. Because if you're forcing yourself to study based on discipline, to do something you dislike, it'll be harder to focus, understand, and memorize content. When you are motivated to win and study, you naturally want to understand and memorize content. That is how I managed to study 12 hours a day for 2 years straight during the IB. And that is how I knew from day 1 that I would get IB 45. In order to become motivated, you need to have a reason and goal as to why you are studying. That could be for getting into your dream university. It could be for prestige, or it could simply be for not wanting to look like a bum. It can be any reason or goal, but you need it in order to become motivated. Now, it's just my first 2 advices. You're already able to effectively complete a set of tasks within a short period of time. But we still have 12 more advices that'll turn you into the academic weapon that everyone fears. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. And now, here we go. The 3rd advice would be competition. Why would a tennis player want to improve if there's no one to compete with? The same goes for studying. Competition fuels your desire to want to get higher grades, to beat your opponents, which induces you to want to study harder. Once you start competing, you'll eventually want to become the best, the highest scorer. The reason why I wanted to get IB45 was simply to stand out from the crowd, to make a statement that I am better than everyone. Now you may be wondering, Melvin, that sounds amazing, but how do I get started? You can first get started by simply comparing your grades with your friends. If you score lower than them and they start laughing, remember that embarrassment of how poorly you performed and never fail again, and beat them on the next test. Then afterwards, start picking targets on who to beat next until you become the highest scorer. That is exactly what I did. That was my mentality on how I got the IB45. I started off at the bottom of the food chain and worked my way up to beat everyone in my class, then my grade, and then became the global highest scorer. It's kind of like a ranking system in a game. You're climbing the ladder and trying to reach a higher rank by beating your opponents. The competition, the ranking system, is how you incentivize yourself to want to study harder. With competition comes ego. Knowing how to utilize your ego is a superpower. Stop being such a humble fool and start bragging about your grades, your accomplishments, and looking down on those you beat. The reason I say this is because by celebrating your wins, it demoralizes your enemies and increases your own morale. That feeling of knowing that you are superior and invincible will not only give you meaning in life, but fill you with unlimited motivation to work harder and become a better version of yourself. That is why athletes celebrate their wins. That is why the Oscars are hosted for actors. You shouldn't feel bad about celebrating your wins in front of others. Otherwise, you're subconsciously programming your mind to not want to win. Back in the IB, I felt like a god. I was invincible. No one can beat me. I was untouchable. It was the best feeling ever. It literally filled me with unlimited motivation. The reason I can say this is because I worked my ass off every single day, 12 to 16 hours for 2 years straight. I put myself through hell, having such exacting, such stringent standards on myself. Why would I then have less exacting, less stringent standards on the people I meet? Why would I put myself through hell and meet someone that didn't and treat them like my equal? That is why not having an ego is disrespectful to yourself if you genuinely work hard. Let me give you some examples. Zlatan and Ronaldo would not see a Sunday league player as someone on their level, but someone far beneath. The same goes for Conor McGregor, The Rock. Everyone successful in their field will look down on people beneath them because having a healthy ego naturally fuels your motivation. Next up is sleep. You need to get a minimum of 8 hours of sleep. No excuses. Stop blaming the academic system for overloading you with work, leaving you no time to sleep. If you're not getting 8 hours of sleep, I can tell that you're the type of person that wastes a lot of time throughout the day. Get out. Stop watching my videos. You don't deserve it. The reason you need 8 hours of sleep is because it is the optimal amount that results in being the most efficient and functional version of yourself. Being able to understand and memorize content faster, being able to focus better, and being able to critically think better during tests and exams. This is very important. If you get less than 8 hours of sleep a day, you're literally wasting more time during the day, and so now take you much longer to study and memorize content, and you'll make much more careless mistakes during the exam. I know this because I've personally experimented with different sleep times, and whenever I get less than 8 hours of sleep, I tend not to be able to focus when studying. During my CS test, I only got 6 hours of sleep, and that resulted in me taking 30 minutes to find the remainder of 5 divided by 3, as I kept doubting myself and kept doing it over and over again due to my tiredness. For our sixth advice, I'll be maintaining a healthy diet. This, like the previous, is often overlooked, but I personally believe it is what allowed me to maintain consistency throughout the 2 years of the IB. Ever heard the quote, "You are what you eat"? It has been scientifically proven by numerous investigations that the food you eat heavily affects your body and performance. A study was conducted by Brown University in 2013 where 2 rats were put in a vat of water. The perfectly healthy rat immediately finds its way to safety every single time. However, the other rat that has been consuming the average North American diet, full of the fats and sugars that you normally consume, doesn't know where to go. The brain of that rat has unfortunately been heavily damaged due to its diet. This elucidates how it is very important to maintain a healthy diet in order to better understand and memorize content, as well as critically think during tests and exams. Now you may be wondering, Melvin, what is a healthy diet? Firstly, no junk food, no sugary drinks, and no desserts. Non-negotiable. It is not that hard to cut out. You can stop immediately just like that. There is no point in consuming foods that don't benefit you. During the IB, I didn't even eat my own birthday cake for 2 years straight because I couldn't have it risk my performance. My mindset was if I ate this cake and someone else out there didn't eat that cake, they would have an edge over me and I would lose to them on the exam because the sugars in the cake will cause you to lack focus, not just during the day of eating, but the day after during the exam as well. Now, for the main diet itself, I'm gonna break it down for you. For breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you're gonna want to eat white rice, meat, and vegetables. You must consume beef and eggs at least once a day because that will increase your testosterone and that will increase your competitive drive to beat your opponents, but also maintain your drive to study hard. You're gonna want to eat as much high quality meat as possible. No processed bullshit. For those that willingly choose to be vegetarians and vegans, no hate towards you, but you are literally putting yourself at a disadvantage mentally and physically. Next up will be mentorship. This is a crucial step if you genuinely want to compete and become the best worldwide. Because listen, everyone at the top all have tutors and mentors. And it is arrogant for you to think that you even stand a chance against them without one yourself. There's a reason why all the top scoring IB schools in the world are all in Hong Kong. And that is because Hong Kong is the region with the most people using private tutors in the world. Almost every student in HK uses a private tutor and mentor to aid them. In my school, 95% of students use private tutors. The 5% that didn't have tutors were bums that didn't care about their future. The 95% were the ones that took life seriously and willingly invested in their education to beat their competition and to secure a better future for themselves. Think about it, you have someone that has already walked the path that you want to walk. They've already gone through all the trials and tribulations to understand the best, most efficient route. You just have to listen and follow. You no longer have to go through trial and error. You no longer have to reinvent the wheel. So now you have 2 choices when it comes to studying. 1. Do this all by yourself, guessing what will work and learning through trial and error. Or 2. Have someone who's already done this time and time again, who's got an IB 45, who's helped tons of other students in high school and university achieve full marks just like yourself, where I can help you, guide you, and mentor you along the way to help make sure that you get the results that you want. If you said option 2, I'd love to introduce you to my community, Scholars Pack, where I provide you shortcut methods to easily achieve full marks, live feedback within 24 hours on your work and questions, a community of competitive and supportive students, group live calls, and resources such as past papers and school tests to guarantee you get your deserved grades. Here is one of my students. Immediately after joining Scholars Pack and receiving mentorship from me, he immediately got 7 out of 7 and scored the highest in his class. And if you feel like this is something you want to do, check out the link down below. If not, no problem. Either way, I just want to help you succeed in doing this. Next is scheduling. You need to live according to a schedule to fully optimize your days of work, where you instinctively know what you should be doing every single hour. Without a schedule, there'll be hours where you think you have nothing to do and end up going off task. Or there'll be times when you waste time thinking about what to do next. All this idle time will result in unproductivity and hedonistic activities. As they say, an idle mind is the devil's workshop. So you want to fully occupy your schedule so you have no spare time. This is especially important before exams, as you do not want to waste any time. You need to create a monthly schedule on what you should complete each day, as well as a daily schedule that keeps track of what you need to do each hour. Lastly, it is also paramount to have a constant sleep schedule, not one that fluctuates, in order to have a consistent circadian rhythm. Ever wake up feeling tired or sleepy during the day despite sleeping for more than 8 hours? That is because your circadian rhythm is messed up, where your body thinks it is still night and requires sleep. It is all because you don't have a constant sleep time. With a constant sleep time, your body knows it is morning when you wake and will not have you become tired. This is crucial if you want to work efficiently and consistently, instead of being half asleep throughout the day. Now, onto the studying category. This is where I'll guide you step by step on how to study in order to guarantee full marks. The first step will be notes. You can either make notes or buy notes. The key is to have a condensed resource with minimal information optimized for maximum results, so you do not waste time memorizing information that is unnecessary. Understand that when using notes, your notes should guarantee full marks when memorized. When taking notes, I'd recommend you having the keyword or question on the top and the definition or explanation you need to memorize directly below it. However, I don't actually recommend note taking and recommend you buying notes instead, where it prevents two major problems: uncertainty, where you risk not getting full marks with your own notes as it hasn't officially been tested and tuned before, and this is a risk you cannot afford, as a single fail can negatively impact your predicted grades or your GPA, which would hinder your ability to getting into your dream university or dream job. And the second downside would be a major waste of time. The time wasted gathering information from textbooks of 600 pages to online sources and then condensing them all into a notebook could be directly used for studying instead. Using notes from a reputable source guarantees full marks, as it has been rigorously tested and tuned from countless exam usages. And it gives you a major competitive advantage, as the time your peers spend for researching and condensing information into a notebook, you can spend directly studying instead. That literally buys you 2 weeks of extra time per test. But now you may be wondering, Melvin, I am now interested in buying notes, but where can I find a reputable source? For those in the IB, you are in luck, because I am now selling the exact notes I used to get IB 45, Econ, Geography, Computer Science, Math, English, which has been rigorously tested for 2 years straight to guarantee 7s once memorized. This is good, as you no longer need to spend time researching and making notes and can just jump straight into memorizing and preparing for tests instead. In fact, since my notes have been used and tested for 2 years straight to guarantee 7s, you have 100% certainty that simply by putting in the effort, you will be guaranteed to get 7 out of 7 in that subject, instead of spending countless hours making your own notes and preparing for the test and still not getting the marks that you aim for. Now, if you're truly interested in obtaining my notes and fast tracking to IB 45, check out the link down in the description below. However, they do come at a price, but this is an investment in your future. My notes are worth 100 times more than any tutoring organization out there. They charge $100 per hour. If you get my notes, you no longer need external tutoring from other organizations, as you can just memorize my notes and you'll be set. Spend a couple dollars to achieve a competitive advantage, using money to buy time and certainty. This is a pay to win strategy, and one that you should definitely take. Next up, we'll be asking questions. Throughout the 2 years of the IB, I never once left the classroom until all my questions have been fully answered for any subject. So if you ever have any content that you don't fully understand, make sure to ask your teacher within class, and don't leave the classroom until all your questions have been answered. Don't be afraid to ask questions during class, even if they are stupid, because the man who asks a question is a fool for a minute, but the man who does not ask is a fool for a life. Don't care what others might think, because if you don't ask the question and it just so happens I showed up on the exam, you will regret it. Next up will be how to actually study for the tests and exams. The only way to actually study would be to memorize content. That is how every student studies in Hong Kong. That is how every student guarantees 45. If you don't memorize, I guarantee you will not get full marks. The reason you memorize is because the test consists of definitions, concept and theory explanations, and essay style questions. By memorizing, you guarantee that you get full marks in each of these questions instead of part marks due to incomplete answers. And also, by simply regurgitating content, you no longer need to stop to think on tests, buying you lots of time for longer questions such as the essays. Memorization also helps you with essays by being able to pull in more information and hence knowledge to be deployed for theories and explanations to back up your arguments, strengthening your claim and hence giving you a higher grade. It is the only way you should be studying and will guarantee you full marks. However, I didn't say this would be easy. It is an extremely grueling and arduous task. For the final IB exam, I had to memorize and regurgitate over 12 notebooks worth of content over and over again for 3 months straight. But this process made the exam so easy. I would finish the exam with a smirk on my face while my competition was demoralized. Now, a lot of you may be intimidated. How am I supposed to memorize that much content? At first, I felt that way too. I thought I couldn't even memorize a single notebook's worth of content. But memorization is a skill that can and will be developed and improved with time. That's why those of you who currently just started your IB journey, you are in luck. Because each time you prepare for your school test, you are improving your memory and hence developing the skills required for the final IB exam. Now, when should you start memorizing and how do you do it? If it's your first time memorizing, then I would start memorizing 2 weeks before your test. And after doing this a couple times, you'll start to be able to memorize faster and be able to cut down the time spent memorizing the same quantity of content to around a week. However, for the final IB exam, I would actually recommend you start memorizing 3 months before the exam. That is what I did. And to memorize, I would first read out loud the definition and explanation, then cover up the explanation and recite it out loud. I would then uncover it and analyze the mistakes I made and regurgitate again until it is flawless. Then I would move on to the next definition or explanation until I finished the first page. You do this for the next few pages. After around 3 pages, you want to regurgitate everything you memorized just now to retain your memory again. So start from the first page and work your way up to the 3rd page again. Then afterwards, you repeat the process. The next day, before you start with new content, regurgitate everything you memorized the day before and then move on to new content. After memorization comes past papers. This is crucial in understanding the exam structure, your timing, your pacing, and most importantly, optimizing your chances of seeing the same or similar questions on the test and exam. This is important for every subject. The ratio of memorization to past papers should be around 8:2 or 7:3 respectively. If you have 2 weeks to prepare for a test, spend 1.5 weeks memorizing and the rest on past papers. But for non-memorization subjects such as math or English, you would want to spend all your time on past papers. Lastly, our final tip will be improvements. You need to become hyper-analytical. Every time you finish an exam, make sure to look through your paper and the feedback you get from your teacher. Understand what you did wrong, and if you're unsure, make sure to ask your teacher so you do not make the same mistake again, and use the feedback to see how you can improve on the next test. Anyways, that's the end of the video today. If you guys enjoyed, make sure you guys like, subscribe, and turn on notifications because I'll be posting many more videos just like this to help you reach your full potential and become the best version of yourself possible. Make sure to also follow my Instagram because I'll be posting my daily routines and habits to show you exactly how an IB 45 student operates day to day. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.